See, now my paper is curled up a little bit because I used the hairdryer on it. If I had just used water and gone off and left it, it probably would have been perfectly flat when I came back. Okay, so let's look. I'm gonna lay this over the face, and I'm going to look for some of the darker areas that I might want to put some emphasis on to begin with. And by the way, just because we're using green right now does not mean that that's all the color we use. We're gonna go back to some reds, and we'll do some other things. There is a decidedly dark area right here. It actually comes down below the ear. It kind of does that and something like this. It's a little lighter out this way, in part because there's hair over it. So I'm going to leave that. Now here, so a real smart thing, if I was doing a real smart thing, might be to take this down. Now, it's not that I think that you need to necessarily do this. I'm using this as a way to kind of illustrate some of the shapes that I'm seeing so you can really understand what I'm trying to accomplish, because it's kind of hard to guess sometimes what's going on with someone else. There's a little bit of a dark edge right under the chin. See, the shape comes up here, and then this saggy thing there. Yeah, so that might come along up here. And here's the thing, when you're looking at this, you might plan. You might say, this starts about right there where the lips come together and the teeth stop showing, right there. And then this area might line up right under the pupil, for instance, something like that. I used to do that. I've gotten now to where I don't need to so much. Also, see if you can make some of these into straight lines. I forgot to mention that. Make a series of little straight lines. It's also, I think, more attractive to have some straight lines in here. It's just a personal preference. You might not want to do it. Hey, this is online. No one's standing over you to see if you did it. Oh, you see those little breaks in there? Those might be good places to have a soft edge. Oh, not right here, though. I think I want that one to show. Okay. So you will notice that the dark didn't stop right at the jawline. The dark comes up into the face and then down below on the neck. I don't want to make artificial looking divisions just because I know there's a bone there somewhere. Let's see. So we've got other places. Some of these places you don't want to get too green, so I'll change how dark they are. But definitely this little place coming off the corner of the mouth here. There's a little place over there. I like to put a little emphasis on the corners of the mouth when I can. It doesn't matter what age group I'm working with, I like to do that. So, of course, these areas are just crying out for a little bit of green. They really are. And you will notice right up here, see, this is my eyebrow. That really dark line there is an excess of eyeshadow that's over the, that crease around the eye. So just know that that's what that is. Because at first I started to make that into my eyebrow, but it's not. My eyebrow's up here. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to soften this edge just like I did before. And of course this is kind of following the eyebrow line. Let's see, over here, this area comes in Let's see, right about, yeah. I want to be careful about making too much of a curve here, because this is a place where people tend to put too much curve in. I'd rather the line went too straight than too curved. Let's see. That is going to, again, soften and drag out and come out here. There is a slightly lighter area right there. And then you can see this. This is a some kind of light thing that's happening because of the glasses and the bifocal right there. Over here, we're going to add quite a bit more overall shading, because this side right in here is not dark enough at all. But I didn't want to go there all the way with the red yet. I wanted to take some time to decide. There's a little edge, dark edge there under the lip. Let's not do that yet. Let's do this. And then let's just soften it out this way. And then right here is going to be another area that'll be weaker. But you can see how I'm looking at these shapes. Oh, yeah, right here. I don't know why I drew that. Let's not draw that. It's a lighter area, but we're not thinking green here. I try to keep green away from the cheeks. This area right here, though, that'll get a little bit of green. Let's do that much for now. That's a lot. And you know you're going to add a lot more color, darks of pinks and greens right in here, inside the ear. Then we're going to do details around the eyes and mouth and nose. Okay, this is just a general thing, again, to show you what is going on in my head as I'm looking at this. It's not really going to work very well for me to lay it out here and look at it. Now, if I wanted to, and I was new at this, what I might decide to do is, I might decide to lightly take my pencil and draw a little bit of this in. I think I see where I had already drawn something like this at one point on here. So I believe that your piece has some dotted lines that sort of give you an idea of this, although it's kind of hard to follow the dotted line. You could take this thing and you could connect the dotted lines now and see what it is. Every one of these I do is going to be slightly different, because there's no one exact one that's just right. But the reason that I didn't do this earlier is because that line, now I can draw it very lightly, and it's probably not going to hurt anything or be very noticeable. If I traced it off, it might be way too dark, it might look kind of bad. Again, if you're new to this, it might be a good idea to trace it off anyway. You know how much you want to challenge yourself. So the other thing I want to do now is I want to make sure that my green is thinned way down. Because when I put this green on, a lot of the time I'll plop on a lot of color and then I'll thin it out afterwards when it's on the paper. But here, I want to be a little bit cautious, because this is phthalo green. So here, maybe I would only go yay strong. Something like that, for instance. And let's just soften some edges on that. Remember, water neutral brush. Just a little bit on the wet side of water neutral. Maybe I'll soften that edge right there. It doesn't soften very well when you've got a line drawn there. In fact, I think the line shows up more now because it's wet. Maybe it won't be that bad later on. I might go a little bit stronger paint right back here. It's going to look greener before it dries. You know, your top coat of whatever paint you're putting down always looks stronger. Let's see, let's do that, and let's water neutral brush. Let's just pull it out that way. And then remember also, you kind of got to keep an eye on it. You know, it could flow a little bit. Sometimes I'll tilt and turn the paper a little bit to get it to do one certain thing or another. Now, wherever I work next, it needs to be away from these. That's the major thing. I could go ahead and put a little green in the ear. It's going to look way green, but I know that I'm going to go pretty dark, and then I'll put more red in later. So maybe I'll make this kind of strong, and then I'll soften this edge coming up this way into the hair like that, because there's hair coming down that obscures the rest of the ear. It just kind of softly disappears. I always wished I had bigger ears. Now I do. Okay, right there. Oh, I didn't mean to get that up over here, but it's actually not hurting because I'm going to need some green up here eventually. So I'll just do that. And let's soften this edge now. See, it's making just sort of a neutralized area. And it does it kind of softly. Oh yeah, see here, I want to soften where this comes out. I definitely want to soften this. And I would like to, let's just turn this around and make use of our gravity. Let's pull this green up this way a little bit and soften that area there at the eyebrow. There. That's doing what I want here. Yeah, that'll be okay. That down there looks pretty good. Okay, let's see, where can I go next? Let's keep this real weak. Always, always go back and look at your photo. Every time you make a move, look at your photo again. Don't assume, oh, I remember what that looks like. Your brain just does little tricks on you. You see, now I've got these interesting shapes going on in my face. I'm becoming a work of art. Yeah, that's me. When you get through with this, you can hang me on your wall. I think that dips down a little bit more there. See, if you're working juicy enough, this will work. If you're trying to work it dry because you're scared you're going to lose control, that's where you actually do lose control. You really want to work it wet to keep, this is very, this is very soupy. See that? That's what I want to be working with. It's pale and soupy. on this side of the neck, I've decided this side of the neck looks just a little bit cooler. See, you could almost see that as a little bit greener right there. And oh yeah, there's this spot right here that is lighter. And I lost it. See that? I don't have that little lighter edge there here. So we're going to regain that. Yep, I'm going to get the lifting brush and I'm going to do it. I want clean water. And here's the thing, because I'm going to be working on top of this later, I want to be really, really gentle with it. So again, I'm not gouging the bristles into the paper. I'm pulling sideways very gently. I've got dry paper and I've got a drip on the brush. The drip is going to moisten just the top layers of the paper, but not down in the paper. And then I'm going to blot. Well, that got a lot of it. Didn't quite get enough. I really want to be gentle with this. All right. Yay! Okay. So I'm not going to paint on that right now. Well, maybe I could. I don't know. Okay, let's do it. I wanted that area to be a little bit cooler, but it still has to be light. There. And this can actually use a little bit more green. You know what? I'll soften this. I don't even know if this shows up. Let's see. Yeah, that actually shows up better there than it does down here. So I'm going to soften that one little spot right there. Okay, now, so back to where I started before I got distracted. I want some very pale green right here. I think that's that's not too strong. That's about right, because all of this over here is going to get darker. Oh yeah, see, that made a nice contrast. I like this little shadow right here, this little cast shadow. And I'm working very, very gently. Okay. You know, we'll go ahead and put a little bit of this dark in over here. Is that dry? No, that's not dry enough. We'll just do that little spot right there for now. If you put green on the nose, be really cautious that you don't put much there. There's nothing like a green nose to turn people off. So you want it to just make a hint of a shadow without giving it a green color, because if you use green or blue on the mouth or the nose or in the middle of the cheeks, you can, if it's relatively less than what's on the rest of the face, but something where you need to be really cautious. So let's see. I guess I'll go ahead and put just a touch of green in the hair. I really am going to use some other colors, but I hate to not carry a little bit of the same color through here. Boy, that's real, I'm keeping that real subtle. Okay. So let's dry that.